Congratulations on your new Varia VS3 single dosing all-purpose grinder. In this guide, you'll learn about the parts of the grinder, their functions, how to quickly set it up to grind for espresso or filter brew, and how to access the grind chamber for cleaning or to install a Burr upgrade. Included in the box with your VS3 grinder is a magnetic dosing cup, a silicone bellows for the hopper, a 5 milliliter RDT spray bottle, a cleaning brush, a power cord with converter, a spare parts and service tool kit, parts diagram, and user's manual. For more information on how to use the RDT sprayer, see the initial setup section of this video. The VS3 is a simple grinder. Adjustments to grind size are made by rotating the hopper. The higher the number, the coarser the grind size. In the user manual, you'll find a general guide for which grind settings best correspond to which brew method. To learn how to dial in the VS3 for espresso, watch the Dialing In section of this video. The VS3 has only one button located on the right-hand side of the grinder's base. Press it to start grinding and press again to stop. Best practice when single dosing is to use the hot start method, where you add beans while the grinder is already running. This reduces the chance of jams and results in more consistent grind sizes overall. You'll need a second cup to do hot starts. The bellows help blow out any loose ground coffee after grinding is complete. Once all beans have been ground through and with the grinder still running, push on the bellows a number of times to blow out any remaining ground coffee. After unboxing your VS3, place it on a level surface and plug it in. Remove the silicone bellows and the magnetic top and place them on top of the hopper. Set the magnetic dosing cup under the ground chute. You are now ready to dial in your grinder. A detailed explanation of how to do this can be found in the Dialing In Grind Size section of this video. Note that before your burrs are fully seasoned, it's not unusual to experience more static in the beans you're grinding. Seasoning of your burrs occurs as coffee oils coat them. It can take up to 4 pounds of coffee to fully season your burrs. Coffee ground during seasoning is perfectly usable. Just be aware you may not reach the full potential of the grinder in terms of static reduction and zero retention until the burrs are fully seasoned. To help reduce static and retention, use the Ross droplet technique and operate the bellows at the end of grinding. Fill the included RDT sprayer with water and, after weighing your beans, spray them 1 or 2 times. Cover the dosing cup with your hand and give it a good shake to distribute the water. Start the grinder and add your beans to the hopper and cover with the lid. RDT helps reduce static buildup and is especially useful before the burrs are fully seasoned. Once grinding is complete and with the grinder still running, operate the bellows with repeated quick pushes to blow out any remaining ground coffee. Use of the bellows is not required but does result in less grind retention, especially at espresso grind sizes. Dialing in is the straightforward process of adjusting the grind size to change how long it takes espresso to extract. Grinding finer slows down an extraction and grinding coarser speeds it up. For espresso, the goal is for the entire extraction to take about 25 to 30 seconds. Timing is the same for single and double shots, so start with a grind that looks like this, very fine. When you pinch between your fingers, it should hold together a bit and be fine enough to maybe make out your fingerprints in the compressed coffee. A setting of 2 on the VS3 should get you fairly close to this. When you have a grind size that looks like this, weigh your beans, prep your puck, and pull a shot with grounds at this size, making sure to time and weigh your shot. If your shot pulls too quickly, adjust your grind size finer and try again. If it pulls too slowly, adjust coarser and try again. Now, you could get lucky and get the grind size right in a couple of attempts, but no, it's not unusual to do 3 or more to dial into the right grind size. Also know that grind size is not set and forget. If you change coffee type as your beans age or the amount used changes, your grind size will likely need slight adjustment. For a pour-over or other filter preparation, you'll want to start with a much coarser grind size. Varia cites the range for pour-over on the VS3 as between a 6 and 11, so starting it at 8 or 9 would be a good idea. Prepare and grind your dose, then brew your pour-over. For a single cup of pour-over coffee, the extraction should take between 2.5 and 3 minutes. Just like with espresso, if it runs too fast, adjust for a finer grind and try again. If it runs too slow, grind coarser and give it another shot. To access the grind chamber for cleaning or maintenance, remove the magnetic collar. Then unscrew the hopper by rotating it counterclockwise as far as it will go. Set the collar and the hopper aside on the included parts diagram. Lift the outer ring burr out and then remove the 4 support springs and set them aside on the parts diagram. Remove the bearings from the outer ring burr and using a stiff bristled brush, wipe off any coffee grounds on the outer burr and bearings, then set them on the parts diagram. To remove the cone burr for cleaning, use the included socket wrench to remove the reverse threaded set nut. It may be necessary to use a screwdriver to steady the burr while you unscrew the nut. Once the nut is removed, carefully lift the locking washer and set it aside. Then remove the cone burr, brush it off, and set it aside on the parts diagram. Lift out the burr carrier. It may be necessary to use a pair of needle nose pliers to do this. Remove the 2 burr pins and the washer from the carrier and set them aside on the parts diagram. Then clean the burr carrier and set it aside as well. Use your brush to clean out the interior of the grinding chamber. You can use the hose attachment of a vacuum cleaner to suck out any remaining loose grounds. To reassemble your grinder, place everything back in reverse order. Start with the burr carrier, washer, and burr pins. Then lock the cone burr into place and secure it with a locking washer and set nut. Make sure this is secured tightly by wedging a screwdriver or pair of pliers in the burr carrier to prevent it from moving. Replace the 4 burr support springs, then the outer burr, and finally the bearings. Screw the hopper back into place and put the collar back. You will now need to dial in your grinder. For detailed instructions on how to do this, see the dialing in section. The VS3 is a modular grinder designed to be used with a series of burr upgrades. To install one of these burr sets, begin by removing the magnetic collar, then unscrew the hopper by rotating it counterclockwise as far as it will go. Set the collar and the hopper aside. Lift the outer ring burr and bearings out, and then remove the 4 support springs and set them aside. To remove the cone burr, use the included socket wrench to remove the reverse threaded set nut. It may be necessary to use a screwdriver to steady the burr while you unscrew the nut. Once the nut is removed, carefully lift the locking washer and set it aside. Then remove the cone burr and set it aside. Install your new burr set in the reverse order that you remove the old one. All of the parts should be exactly the same. Lock the cone burr into place and secure it with a locking washer and set nut. Make sure this is secured tightly by wedging a screwdriver or pair of pliers in the burr carrier to prevent it from moving. Replace the 4 burr support springs, then the outer burr, and finally the bearings. Screw the hopper back into place and put the collar back. You will now need to dial in your grinder. For detailed instructions on how to do this, see the dialing in grind size section. For additional information on operating and maintaining your Varia VS3, see the operating instructions book which came with a grinder. If you need additional assistance, please contact customer service or tech support at Whole Latte Love.